May I have a glass of water?
Mr. Jackson, do you know why we brought you in here today?
Boston bombing?
So, what's your game?
What do you mean?
What Carla's asking is, can you give us more specifics? Is this domestic or international terrorism?
I need to see a map.
Any specific area?
The East Coast.
Wasting time.
You're asking for my help. And let me tell you something else. There's going to be a bad plane crash in San Francisco on July 6th.
Stop.
And there's going to be fatalities.
Stop. One thing at a time. What can you tell us about the bombing?
This is international terrorism. They have more attacks planned.
What else can you tell us?
This guy is an electrical engineer.
Our team just found out about that last week. It's not public.
Is there anything else you can tell us?
These guys have relatives in Toronto.
Call our Boston office.
I think I know who we're looking for.
Yeah, teletype. Great job. Great job.
A Lake St. Louis man was inside the airport when the plane crashed. Sean Jackson was vacationing in Napa and had just arrived at the San Francisco airport for his flight home when he witnessed the crash. He snapped these pictures. We spoke to him via Skype from the airport just a few hours after it happened.
I seen the back of the plane hit the ground pretty hard, and then I seen the tail of the plane come off the fuselage, so I knew that it was that it was going to crash. I didn't know if it was. I was afraid that it was going to start tumbling and falling apart, but it just seemed to lose control and start going from one side to the other, and then it finally stopped.
Jackson says many people at the airport weren't even aware a plane had crashed. Our coverage of the San Francisco plane crash continues on KSDK.com.
When I was on the shuttle bus heading to the Hudson Hotel on September the 7th, 2001, I had an overwhelming feeling of fear, as if something bad was going to happen in New York City. And I knew that it had something to do with the Trade Center and terrorism. Living with the fact that I knew this was all going to happen, and then know and live with the fact of it did happening is a very, very hard thing to deal with. I live with a certain amount of depression every day because of the loss of life. It's overwhelming. I can't even describe how painful it is to live with this type of anxiety and depression. It is important to me to get my story out there and realize that I have a gift. I have a gift, and I want people to pay attention when I say something like this. When I have a feeling, when I know something horrible is going to happen, I want people to listen. The only way people would ever believe my story about 9/11 was to take a polygraph test.
Polygraph is an instrument that's used to ascertain if somebody's being truthful when asked questions. It monitors cardio activity, respiration, and perspiration within the human body. The questions are asked, we read the charts and determine if somebody is showing deception or showing no deception.
I've never taken a polygraph test. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I don't think he figured I would pass the test.
I go in there with an open mind. I don't believe somebody or disbelieve them until I do the polygraph and read the charts. The polygraph is based on, the questions are based on an action somebody did or did not do. The polygraph questions about what somebody believes or their thoughts. those questions aren't valid on there. In Sean's case, the questions all were, did you lie about September 11th?
He kept testing me over and over and over, asking me the same questions, trying to get me to fail. I felt like he was trying to get me to fail.
There are certain websites out there, or certain books that you can buy to try to learn how to what they call countermeasures. Examiners are trained in the use of countermeasures, so we know what to look for whenever we do see them on a polygraph.
When the test was finished, I was still strapped in the seat, and I just slowly look over to this guy. He's just sitting there, and he's not saying nothing. And then finally, he said, "You passed."
Based on the polygraph, the result was no deception indicated after several charts were run.
It was so relieving that after 11 years that I could say, that I knew I could finally say everything I had said about 9/11 was proven with a polygraph test. So that was such a huge relief for me to be able to tell my story and back it with a polygraph test.